On January 26, the United Nations International Court of Justice, also known as the World Court, called on Israel to take all necessary steps to prevent genocide. Further, the court found that claims that Israel were committing genocide against Palestinians in Gaza were plausible. As recently as March 11, UN Secretary-General Antonio Guterres has called for an immediate ceasefire. The war began on October 7, 2023, when Hamas led surprise attacks on Israel, killing 1,200 Israelis and foreign nationals, including at least 35 Americans, with another 130 kidnapped and taken hostage, many having been released since then. As of today, at least 32 have been reported as dead, with another 20 feared dead. This war is part of an ongoing saga dating back to World War I and the founding of Israel on May 14, 1948, and the occupation of Palestine in the Six-Day War of 1967. In the current war, 31,819 Palestinians have been killed and another 73,934 wounded. 2 million Gazans are now facing acute levels of food insecurity and catastrophic levels of famine, and in northern Gaza they're just days and weeks away from famine, according to the Integrated Food Security Phase classification. This could mean millions more deaths, so the question is there already a genocide happening in Gaza? The official classification could take the United Nations years, especially with the pushback of Israel and the United States. But we can certainly assess the ravages of war and make a determination now before the horrific outcomes I described earlier come to pass. Unless, that is, we can stop it before it gets any worse. But first, what is genocide? The term genocide carries profound historical significance, originating from the atrocities of the Holocaust during World War II. Coined by Polish Jewish lawyer Raphael Lemkin in 1944, it combines the Greek word genos, meaning race or tribe, with the Latin suffix -cide, meaning killing. Lemkin, deeply affected by the Nazi regime's systematic extermination of millions of Jews and other marginalized groups, sought to conceptualize and condemn such crimes against humanity. Formally defined by the United Nations, UN, genocide is characterized as a crime committed with the intent to destroy, in whole or in part, a national, ethnic, racial, or religious group. This definition encapsulates the deliberate and methodical nature of genocidal acts, emphasizing not only their scale but also their underlying intent to eradicate specific identities. The UN, founded in 1945 in the aftermath of World War II, stands as a beacon of international cooperation and peacekeeping. Established with the primary goal of preventing future conflicts and promoting global stability, the UN serves as a platform for member states to address pressing humanitarian concerns, including genocide. Given its mandate to uphold human rights and prevent atrocities, the UN is tasked with determining when genocide is occurring and mobilizing efforts to intervene. This responsibility stems from the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, adopted by the UN General Assembly in 1948, which affirms the inherent dignity and equality of all individuals and condemns acts of genocide. The UN employs various mechanisms to assess and respond to allegations of genocide. These include investigative missions, fact-finding commissions, and collaboration with international organizations and human rights groups. Through rigorous documentation and analysis of evidence, the UN seeks to establish the occurrence of genocide and hold perpetrators accountable for their actions. In summary, the UN's role in identifying and addressing genocide is rooted in its commitment to upholding human rights and preventing atrocities on a global scale. By adhering to the principles of justice, accountability, and solidarity, the UN strives to confront and mitigate the horrors of genocide wherever they may arise. To understand genocide fully, it's crucial to examine its context. Article 1 of the Genocide Convention outlines 5 elements that constitute the crime of genocide. The first of these elements pertains to the context in which genocide occurs. This includes the presence of a specific group targeted for destruction based on national, ethnic, racial, or religious grounds. Context provides the backdrop against which genocidal acts unfold, encompassing historical grievances, political dynamics and social tensions. By examining the broader context, we gain insight into the underlying factors driving genocide and the complexities of preventing and responding to these atrocities. In the next section, we will delve into another critical element of genocide, the physical element. Stay tuned as we explore the perpetrator's intent to destroy targeted groups, shedding light on the motivations and ideologies fueling genocidal violence. Genocide encompasses a distinct physical element, delineated by Article 2 of the Genocide Convention, which enumerates 5 specific acts constituting genocide. These acts are: number 1, killing members of the group, the intentional taking of lives within a targeted group, whether through direct violence, mass murder, or systematic executions. Number 2, causing serious bodily or mental harm to members of the group, inflicting physical injuries or psychological trauma with the intent to harm individuals based on their group identity. Number 3, deliberately inflicting on the group conditions of life calculated to bring about its physical destruction in whole or in part, implementing policies or practices that systematically deprive the targeted group of essential resources, such as food, water, shelter, or medical care, leading to their physical deterioration or demise. Number 4, imposing measures intended to prevent births within the group, instituting policies or practices aimed at limiting or prohibiting reproduction within the targeted group, such as forced sterilization, forced contraception, or restrictions on marriage and procreation. Number 5, forcibly transferring children of the group to another group, removing children from their families and communities within the targeted group and placing them into the custody or care of another group, often with the intention of assimilating them into the perpetrator group. These 5 acts serve as the cornerstone of the physical element of genocide, representing the means by which perpetrators seek to destroy, in whole or in part, a national, ethnical, racial, or religious group. We'll cover each of these topics in subsequent chapters, starting with the first. The first sign of genocide, as outlined by the United Nations, involves the deliberate and systematic killing of members of a particular group. This chilling aspect of genocide serves as a stark indicator of the gravity of the situation and the perpetrator's intent to eliminate the targeted group. Throughout history, genocidal regimes have employed mass killings as a means of asserting dominance and eradicating perceived threats to their power. One of the most notorious examples is the Holocaust, orchestrated by Nazi Germany during World War II. Adolf Hitler's regime systematically murdered 6 million Jews, along with millions of others, including Roma, disabled individuals, Slavs, homosexuals, and political dissidents. The United Nations unequivocally recognizes the Holocaust as an act of genocide, epitomizing the horrors of state-sponsored extermination. Similarly, the Armenian Genocide of 1915 saw the Ottoman Empire's systematic massacre of over 1 million Armenians, along with Assyrians and Greeks, in a campaign of ethnic cleansing. Despite widespread acknowledgement by historians and many nations, Turkey, the successor state to the Ottoman Empire, denies the genocide, leading to ongoing diplomatic tensions. In more recent history, the Rwandan Genocide of 1994 stands as a stark reminder of the international community's failure to intervene in the face of genocide. In just 100 days, Hutu extremists slaughtered an estimated 800,000 Tutsis and moderate Hutus, fueled by long-standing ethnic tensions and incendiary propaganda. Despite mounting evidence of genocide, the UN Security Council failed to authorize timely intervention, resulting in catastrophic loss of life. Each of these examples underscores the devastating impact of targeted violence on vulnerable communities and the urgent need for decisive action to prevent further atrocities. While the United Nations has unequivocally recognized some instances, such as the Holocaust, as genocide, others remain subject to political disputes and denial. In the next section, we will delve deeper into the complexities of genocide determination and explore the challenges inherent in holding perpetrators accountable for their crimes against humanity. Stay tuned as we continue our exploration of this tragic phenomenon and seek to understand the warning signs that herald its onset. Another harrowing aspect of genocide, as defined by the United Nations, involves the intentional infliction of serious bodily or mental harm upon members of a targeted group. This insidious tactic seeks not only to physically eliminate individuals but also to terrorize and traumatize entire communities, leaving lasting scars on survivors and their descendants. Throughout history, genocidal regimes have employed various methods to cause profound suffering and anguish among targeted populations. One notorious example is the use of concentration camps during the Holocaust, where inmates endured starvation, forced labor, torture, and medical experiments at the hands of Nazi perpetrators. The sheer brutality and dehumanization inflicted upon prisoners exemplify the deliberate intent to cause both physical and psychological harm on a massive scale. Similarly, during the Rwandan Genocide, perpetrators engaged in systematic rape, mutilation, and torture as tools of terror and control. Countless women and girls were subjected to sexual violence, resulting in severe physical injuries and lifelong trauma. The psychological impact of such atrocities extends far beyond immediate survivors, permeating entire communities and generations. In more recent times, the Rohingya genocide in Myanmar has seen the military and extremist groups systematically target Rohingya Muslims with widespread acts of violence and persecution. Reports of mass killings, sexual violence, and forced displacement have resulted in countless deaths and untold suffering among the Rohingya population. The deliberate destruction of homes, livelihoods, and cultural sites further compounds the harm inflicted upon survivors, exacerbating their trauma and displacement. Despite the clear evidence of widespread atrocities causing serious bodily and mental harm, the determination of genocide by the United Nations and international community remains a complex and often politicized process. In the next section, we will explore the challenges of recognizing and responding to genocide in real time, examining the role of political dynamics, historical context, and international law in shaping our understanding of these atrocities. The deliberate infliction of conditions designed to bring about the physical destruction of a targeted group has been a grim reality in several historical and contemporary genocides. Examples include the Ukrainian Holodomor, 1932–1933. Under Soviet leader Joseph Stalin's regime, the Holodomor was a man-made famine that ravaged Ukraine, resulting in millions of deaths. Stalin's policies, including forced collectivization and grain confiscation, deliberately deprived Ukrainians of essential food resources, leading to widespread starvation and suffering. The famine was exacerbated by the denial of aid and restrictions on movement, effectively trapping Ukrainians in a deadly cycle of deprivation and death. The Darfur Genocide, 2003-present, in Sudan's Darfur region, government forces and allied militias have systematically targeted ethnic minority groups, primarily the Fur, Masalit, and Zaghawa peoples. The Sudanese government's deliberate policies of scorched earth tactics, including the destruction of villages, confiscation of livestock, and blockade of humanitarian aid, have deprived Darfuri communities of essential resources such as food, water, and shelter. This deliberate deprivation has led to widespread starvation, malnutrition, and disease, resulting in countless deaths and displacement. The Rohingya Genocide, 2017-present, in Myanmar, the Rohingya Muslim minority has faced targeted violence and persecution at the hands of the military and extremist Buddhist groups. The Myanmar military's campaign of violence, including massacres, rape, and arson, has forcibly displaced hundreds of thousands of Rohingya people and created dire humanitarian conditions in overcrowded refugee camps in Bangladesh. Limited access to food, clean water, and medical care has contributed to malnutrition, disease outbreaks, and preventable deaths among Rohingya refugees. These examples illustrate how genocidal regimes and perpetrators implement policies deliberately designed to deprive targeted groups of essential resources, leading to their physical deterioration and demise. Such tactics constitute grave violations of human rights and underscore the urgent need for international intervention to prevent further atrocities and hold perpetrators accountable for their crimes against humanity. A particularly insidious aspect of genocide, as outlined by the United Nations, involves the imposition of measures intended to prevent births within a targeted group. This method of population control aims to undermine the group's ability to sustain itself over time, thereby contributing to its gradual destruction. Historical and contemporary examples shed light on the implementation of such measures as part of genocidal campaigns. One striking example is the coercive sterilization policies enacted by the Nazi regime during the Holocaust. Under the guise of eugenics, Nazi authorities forcibly sterilized individuals deemed unfit to propagate the Aryan race, including those with disabilities, mental illnesses, or deemed racially inferior. These policies not only deprived individuals of their reproductive rights but also constituted a calculated effort to diminish the future population of targeted groups. In more recent times, the government of China has faced international scrutiny for its draconian measures aimed at reducing birth rates among Uyghur Muslims and other ethnic minority groups in the Xinjiang region. Reports indicate widespread forced sterilizations, abortions, and the use of intrauterine devices, IUDs, to suppress birth rates among Uyghur women. These coercive population control measures, combined with mass internment camps and cultural repression, raise alarming parallels with the UN definition of genocide. The imposition of measures to prevent births within a targeted group represents a grave violation of reproductive rights and human dignity. In the next section, we will explore further examples of genocidal tactics aimed at undermining the cultural and social fabric of targeted communities. Through a deeper examination of these atrocities, we aim to foster greater awareness and understanding of the warning signs of genocide. Stay tuned as we continue our quest to confront and prevent the horrors of mass violence and systemic oppression. A haunting aspect of genocide, as delineated by the United Nations, involves forcibly transferring children of the targeted group to another group. This sinister tactic aims to sever familial and cultural bonds, assimilate the next generation into the perpetrator group, and extinguish the identity and heritage of the victims. Throughout history, genocidal regimes have implemented policies of forced child transfers with devastating consequences. One notable example occurred during World War II when the Nazi regime forcibly removed children from occupied territories, particularly in Eastern Europe, deemed to be of Aryan appearance. These children were often sent to Germany to be raised as racially pure Germans, stripping them of their language, culture, and familial ties. In more recent times, Russian President Vladimir Putin's annexation of Crimea in 2014 led to forced transfers of Ukrainian children to Russia. Human rights organizations reported instances of Ukrainian children being removed from Crimea and taken to orphanages in Russia, raising concerns about the manipulation of children for political and ideological purposes. These acts are continuing to this day and not just in Crimea. These examples underscore the sinister lengths to which genocidal regimes will go to erase the identity and heritage of targeted groups. By forcibly transferring children, perpetrators seek to perpetuate their control and domination over vulnerable populations, perpetuating cycles of trauma and suffering. In the next section, we will explore the international community's response to genocide and the challenges inherent in preventing and prosecuting these heinous crimes against humanity. Stay tuned as we continue our examination of the warning signs and consequences of genocide, striving to foster greater awareness and accountability on a global scale. The international community's response to genocide has been marked by both successes and failures, reflecting the complexities of addressing such heinous crimes against humanity. While significant strides have been made in recognizing and condemning genocide, numerous challenges persist in preventing and prosecuting these atrocities effectively. One of the primary challenges lies in garnering sufficient political will and consensus among nations to take decisive action in the face of genocide. Political considerations, geopolitical rivalries, and concerns over national sovereignty often hinder timely and coordinated responses to genocide, allowing perpetrators to act with impunity. Another challenge is the limitations of existing international legal frameworks and mechanisms for prosecuting perpetrators of genocide. While the Genocide Convention provides a legal framework for defining and condemning genocide, enforcement mechanisms remain largely reliant on the willingness of individual states to pursue justice. The establishment of the International Criminal Court, ICC, has provided a crucial avenue for prosecuting individuals responsible for genocide, but challenges such as jurisdictional issues and the lack of universal ratification of the ICC statute impede its effectiveness. Moreover, the complexities of modern conflicts, characterized by non-state actors, asymmetric warfare, and complex geopolitical dynamics, present unique challenges in identifying and responding to genocide. In conflicts such as those in Syria, Yemen, and Myanmar, determining culpability and holding perpetrators accountable amidst a fog of misinformation and propaganda is an arduous task for the international community. Despite these challenges, there have been notable instances of successful international interventions to prevent or halt genocide, such as the NATO intervention in Kosovo in 1999 and the deployment of peacekeeping forces in Bosnia and Herzegovina. Additionally, civil society organizations, human rights advocates, and grassroots movements play a vital role in raising awareness, documenting atrocities, and advocating for justice for genocide survivors. Moving forward, concerted efforts are needed to strengthen international mechanisms for preventing and prosecuting genocide, enhance early warning systems, and bolster diplomatic and humanitarian interventions in regions at risk of genocide. By fostering greater solidarity, cooperation, and commitment to upholding human rights, the international community can work towards preventing future genocides and ensuring accountability for those responsible for these gravest of crimes against humanity. The specter of genocide looms as a haunting reminder of humanity's capacity for cruelty and injustice. While genocides may seem distant or abstract to some, the reality is that they represent a fundamental threat to the principles of human rights, democracy, dignity, and justice that underpin civilized society. Here's why everyone should be alarmed and actively advocate against genocide. Number 1. Inherent human dignity. At the core of the fight against genocide lies the recognition of the inherent dignity and worth of every individual. Genocide strips away this dignity, reducing people to mere objects of hatred and violence. Regardless of one's nationality, ethnicity, religion, or background, the threat of genocide strikes at the heart of our shared humanity. Number 2. Historical precedents. History serves as a stark reminder of the devastating consequences of unchecked hatred and prejudice. In the United States, the colonization of the Americas resulted in the systematic killing and displacement of indigenous peoples, exemplified by events such as the Trail of Tears, where thousands of Native Americans perished during forced relocation. Similarly, the internment of Japanese Americans during World War II, based solely on their ancestry, represents a dark chapter in American history that highlights the dangers of racial discrimination and state-sanctioned persecution. Number 3. Recognition of past atrocities. It is essential to acknowledge and reckon with the legacies of past atrocities committed in the name of bigotry and xenophobia. While debates may arise over whether specific historical events, such as the Trail of Tears or Japanese internment, meet the legal definition of genocide, they nonetheless serve as poignant reminders of the dangers of unchecked prejudice and discrimination. Number 4. Global solidarity. Genocide knows no boundaries and can occur anywhere, affecting people of all backgrounds and identities. The international community must stand in solidarity with victims of genocide and work collectively to prevent future atrocities. By advocating against genocide, individuals can contribute to a broader movement for peace, justice, and human rights on a global scale. We are all, after all, one race, one species, and our DNA is 99.9% the same. Genocide is not only a wrong, an evil, but it doesn't make any sense. We're all the same. Number 5. The imperative of vigilance. The phrase, "never again," must not be mere rhetoric but a solemn commitment to remain vigilant against the specter of genocide. By raising awareness, supporting initiatives for conflict prevention and resolution, and holding perpetrators accountable for their crimes, individuals can play a vital role in ensuring that the horrors of genocide are consigned to the past. The fight against genocide is a moral imperative that demands the active participation of every individual. By standing up against hatred, bigotry, and injustice, we affirm our shared humanity and uphold the principles of peace, dignity, and justice for all. As history has shown, if genocide could happen there, it could happen here. And it already has. It is incumbent upon each of us to ensure that "never again" is more than just a slogan but a guiding principle for a more just and compassionate world. For more information on this topic, check out my video, The Importance, Mandate, and Promise of the United Nations, which directly discusses the United Nations in regards to the genocide of Palestinians in Gaza by Benjamin Netanyahu. And for a historical deep dive, check out my 2-hour video, The Holocaust and Rejection of Anti-Semitism and Racism. From the physical aspect discussed earlier, the targeting of civilians in Palestine as a means of eradicating Hamas is a prime example of the genocide being committed by Benjamin Netanyahu and his government. As to intent, there is not, to our knowledge, an Israeli plan to exterminate all Palestinians. However, the indiscriminate murder of Palestinians is a violation of human rights if not genocide. Further, the war has led to starvation and, as already discussed, likely famine. Whether killing tens of thousands or millions is intentional on the part of Netanyahu is hard to assess at present, but the outcome is the same. So in terms of the physical aspects of genocide, the current actions of Israel can leave no doubt. What is at doubt is the context. Is Israel defending itself solely from Hamas, or is the long distrust, anger, and resentment held by Benjamin Netanyahu towards Palestinians the true basis for the conflict? Only time will tell. The scourge of genocide stands as a chilling reminder of humanity's darkest impulses, capable of unleashing unspeakable horrors upon innocent lives. From the Holocaust to the Rwandan Genocide, history bears witness to the devastating toll of unchecked hatred and prejudice. In our exploration of genocide, we have delved into its definition, examined its warning signs, and reflected on the international community's response. We have confronted uncomfortable truths about past atrocities and the imperative of preventing future ones. The fight against genocide is not merely a matter of historical reflection, it is a moral imperative that demands our collective vigilance and action. We must heed the lessons of history and stand in solidarity with those at risk of persecution and violence. As individuals, we possess the power to effect change through advocacy, education, and engagement with our communities and leaders. By amplifying the voices of survivors, supporting initiatives for peace and reconciliation, and advocating for justice, we can work towards a world where the horrors of genocide are consigned to the past. In the face of darkness, let us be beacons of hope and compassion. Let us strive for a future where the dignity and rights of every individual are upheld, and where the words, "never again," are not just a promise, but a reality. Together, let us build a world where genocide has no place, and where the flame of humanity burns bright, illuminating the path towards peace, justice, and reconciliation for all. Israel has a right to exist, as does a free Palestine. As does any peoples who want a homeland of their own. Benjamin Netanyahu, end the genocide in Gaza now. Thank you for watching. My channel, The Renaissance Spirit, is dedicated to the pursuits of a just, equitable, and humanitarian world. Video topics encompass areas including the history, politics, religion, personal development, society, culture, social and environmental justice, and other topics of liberal arts and sciences including ancient Rome and the Roman Empire, which is a great comparison and contrast of the modern world. Topics perfect for the true modern polymath. The Renaissance ushered in a golden age in the pursuit of knowledge both lost to time and yet to be discovered. It gave birth to the Enlightenment and the Age of Reason. Embracing truth, knowledge, and an understanding and compassion for humanity opens up the world to each of us individually and improves all of humanity, affording us the opportunity to be better stewards of the earth and to each other. The Renaissance spirit, more than just a philosophy or style, but a style for living, learning, growing and thinking. Please subscribe, turn on notifications, and share. If you're looking to explore and experience what life has to offer, I'm sure you'll enjoy the other videos on my channel. Please peruse my video library, and let me know in the comments what you get out of them and what other videos you'd like to see. But first, please take the quiz next to see if you're a Renaissance spirit. Live the Renaissance spirit.